Hey guys, it's Eric Barfield from Patch Foundry, and today I'm going to go into an in-depth walkthrough of exactly what's included in the Nord Stage 4 Worship Collection. This is a massive collection of 331 individual presets and programs designed specifically for keyboard players who use the Nord Stage 4 in worship scenarios. Let's get started. I've got my LaCroix here. Buckle up, it's going to be a long one. Alright, so now that we've got the important stuff, the LaCroix, out of the way, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's included in the Worship Collection. There are a total of 118 program files and then 213 presets. We've got 146 synth presets, 42 piano presets, 25 organ presets. And I'll get into a little bit about what those are in just a minute, but before we even start, I should mention that the Nord Stage 4 is, I've got a Compact 73 version right now, and this collection is 100% compatible across all three models, the Hammer Action 73, the Compact, and then the 88 key version. So it doesn't matter which one you have, this part is going to be basically identical, so you don't have to worry about it. So that's good news. Let's start by just listening for a few minutes here. So I'm going to scroll through here. To do this, I just held down Shift, and that way I could see it in list mode. And let's just play a little bit here. One other note too, just like past worship collections, if you watched any of the videos, I use a foot pedal a lot, an expression pedal to kind of swell stuff in. So that's what you're going to be hearing a lot throughout the video. Also, you can do the same thing with the mod wheel over here. But honestly, I don't like doing that because you have to take your hand off the key. So it's just more fun to do it with the expression. That's what I'll be doing in this video. So let's just listen. So this first pad is a really good example of kind of the overall philosophy of the worship collection. I start off with the idea that you're probably going to use a maximum of one patch per song. And then you're going to want to layer things and build it over the course of a intro, verse, chorus, bridge, final chorus, or some version of that. And so the idea is you start off. If I start off here with my foot pedal all the way back, I basically have rolled off all of my synth sounds. So you're not going to be hearing any of that. And I could just start with the piano and maybe put just a tad bit of some I can bring in just a little bit of pad there. And I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. And what I could do that on the first verse. So I could start with like. And once I get to the chorus, I have it all the way open. Then maybe I get to a bridge, and I back it all the way back down again, but then I press this button called Layer Scene. What this does is with the new Nord Stage 4, you can instantly shift all of the front panel sounds to any combination. So in this case, when I hit this button, you can see the lights start turning on. I double up the piano, so I have two pianos going, one high and one low, and then I can also layer in an extra synthesizer sound. I'm turning on the organ section. It's just really handy. It basically creates two patches in one. So if you want to think about it that way, we've got what, like close to 250 patches here if you think about it as layers. Layer 1 and layer 2 per patch. So what this allows you to do is, again, you start off with the piano like we tend to do in worship. And then by the time I hit layer scene 2, this allows me to get really, really big. So let me just show you an example. You can hear how this just boosts it like crazy. Creates an entire ecosystem of piano sounds and synth sounds that you can quickly go through. And again, I have 118 individual programs that are set up like this, with just a wide variety of different sounds. Let's go through a few more. There's so many, I'll have to just kind of jump around here. So I've got one program at least per piano sound that I thought was appropriate. So like this is the Royal Grand Piano. This is the Velvet Grand. And it just goes on and on. I have electric grand piano sounds. I have uprights, tons of uprights. You can see how quickly you can build stuff. I have these cool strike pianos where I've combined a synth and a piano. Probably has the gain a little bit high for that one. Yeah, so let's go through some more. On that one, I've incorporated a bunch of organ, synth, the whole 9 yards. To me, the Nord Stage 4 sounds so good, better than anything they've ever done before for a couple reasons. The big one, though, is each individual section has the ability to run a series of basically like a pedal board of effects over here. That means that I can create sounds for the synth that run through all of the effects at the same time, and sounds for the piano that runs through a whole separate one. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So if I'm over here on, let's just go to the EP1. Turn that down a little more. You can hear that ping pong delay. If I turn this off and I use the synth section, I have a whole different set and no ping pong delay. In the Nord Stage 3, it was only possible to route one effect to one section at a time. So in this case, like for synthesizers, let me just go ahead and turn that off, and I'll turn the piano back on. What I can do over here is turn on effects for just this one, and then I can save that as a preset, and that's what I've done for all of these. So let's start off here. I've also done something I call like no oops because if you're like me, sometimes you accidentally hit buttons when you're playing live you don't mean to. So what I've done is I programmed every button in every single program and preset so that if you turn it on, it's going to do something musically pleasing instead of musically destructive. So in this case, I'll turn this on. It's automatically set to an auto pan. And then if I turn this on, it's set on to a chorus. If I turn the amp simulator off, it doesn't really change things that much. You're still going to get the heart of it. We've got the delay on. I can turn the compressor on or off. It's not going to change much. So you can see it's really easy to just experiment, and you're not, even if you don't know what you're doing, pressing buttons on and off, you're going to be safe. And then you know, if for some reason you don't like what you have, you can always just click away and then come back, and you're going to have the original sound there with all the presets. So yeah, so let's talk for a second here using this this particular pad to talk about the preset library. So to access the preset library, we're going to hold down Shift, and select. Well, for starters, I'm sorry, we should go back there. You need to click on the button that you want to load stuff into. Otherwise, it'll automatically, I think, load into A. So if I come over here and hit Shift, let's go to Piano on the preset library here. This is going to open up all of our options. It's probably hard to see on this screen, but this says WC at the beginning. Anything that says WC, Worship Collection, that's going to be something I've designed that will work perfectly in here. Now you can use any program you want, so I could come over here, just hit a random, like a Hi-Fi Grand, and it's going to work just fine. But I've done a few secret sauce things with the Worship Collection, so I'm going to just work in there. But yeah, so it's cross-compatible, which is really helpful. Let's look here for a second. Maybe I've got this nice pad going, but the electric piano sound that I had originally, maybe I don't need that. Maybe I need like a bright grand piano. That sounded good. Then maybe I want to adjust the effects a little bit. All I'm going to have to do is just tap here so it turns yellow, and that's going to automatically select this. So now let's add a delay like we had on the original. And again, because I put all that time into making sure the presets are going to work, even for something like a grand piano where maybe you wouldn't expect a delay, I've programmed one in. And then I can set it by the tap tempo here. 3, 4. Bring in that pad. Let's layer it up. And there you go. If I like what I have, I could store it. And when I store this, what I can do is I can hold Shift, Store, and I could save it. Let's just save it here for a second. It's fairly fast to do this. Let's save it as we'll make it real cryptic. ABC. How about that? I actually prefer to use the Nord Sound Manager, which is free. But yeah, this will work. So we'll do it as that. Now, here's where I've tried to be really careful with the design here. There were a grand total of 128 slots, I believe, available. It was either 128 or 130 slots available where you don't have to write over any information inside your Nord already. And that's the most incredible thing about this collection is you have it. I basically just used the empty slots at the end of the organ, piano, and synth presets and the program section. So you're never going to run out, or you're never going to have to move stuff off, move things back on like you have in the past. It's just going to work. So to do this, as part of this idea, I created 10 slots at the beginning, or I'm sorry, at the very end of the program library, where you can store stuff that you maybe are going to be using on a specific day or on a specific worship scenario. And you're going to be able to quickly turn through those. So let's save it to one of those empty slots. So I'll hit store, and then we're going to scroll all the way to the end. And if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10. Yep, 10 slots where I could save this. So what this allows me to do is, now that I've done that, I'll hit store, I'll save it, and there's my sound. Now, for my second song, let's find another one and we'll move it. So to move a set, we're just going to hold Shift, Program. I'm going to scroll up here for a minute. Let's find a piano, maybe an upright. We don't want something that aggressive. Oh, I like that one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is hold Shift, Store. Oh, actually, you know what? I just hit store if I'm not having to rename it. I'll hit store, and I'm going to scroll all the way back to H88, and I'll put it right here. And I could keep doing that as long as I wanted to. Build up a set, then I'll hold Shift, Program to go back into list mode. When I'm live, all I have to do now is just click through my presets. So I've got my first piano. Then I go to my next sound. And I've got it right there. It's so helpful to be able to move through. And then if I wanted to get really fancy, I could save this for future use. But I also know that those first 10 slots that I have, I can delete them at any point, and I'm still going to have my original presets here with no issue. So that's there. So let's go ahead and keep going here while we have the chance. I'm going to go ahead and just go through a few more sounds here. Kind of modern worship sound. A lot of EPs. Those have kind of fallen out of style, but I still like them. Yeah, that's a new spring reverb sound that they have, which is so cool. Here's a fun one. Kind of just inspired by some prominent people here, Wurlitzers. Just a little bit of pad. The new reverb sounds so good, and I've used it a lot. And we have some basics too, like you need a Wurlitzer and an organ, it's there for you. The organ is still pretty much exactly what it was before, and yeah, it's not a big difference, but I kind of like the one that came with the Nord Stage 3, and that's fine. Okay, so we've got the DX7. And by the way, you're hearing my 3-year-old scream in the background. She's having a hard day. So if you wonder what that is, that's what it is. My studio is connected to our house. And so, yeah. So thanks for bearing with me. One of the cool things they added in the new Nord Stage 4 is the ability to pump something. So in this case, I've created this pump pad. nice for that modern worship stuff that previously was kind of hard to pull off with the Nord Stage 3. But with the 4, it's pretty good. And of course, you can tap tempo in your speed. So if I want to slow it down, I can go. Speeds up quite a bit. Very handy. Yeah, keep going. Kind of a vintage piano sound, which I like. If you're having a retro night, there's your patch. Got that nice fun thing going on there with a little pump. So if you're playing an aux keys roll, that's a really good patch there for you. Again, another one that's a little more retro. That's fine. Now, just grand piano organ. Again, it's real easy to dial these up, but to dial them up and just nail it is surprisingly hard. But yeah, I've tried to do that for you here. So you got this nice little... nice little part there, and there's one for each individual sound. We got an amber upright here with the organ, of course. Really fun. And then we go through into the B3 section. So B3 here, we've got just a bunch of presets, things that I use in the studio and on stage all the time, different patterns. Yeah. You switch the presets here. So you got 2 presets per organ part. Anybody know that one? Simple Grit. One with a lot of reverb on it. It's nice if you're not trying to rip anything too crazy. This one, blinding. Just breaks up really well. Then we got some more traditional organs, like a church organ. If you're playing in a traditional church, this sounds crazy, but the Nord Stage 4 might be your best option for really cool sounding organ sounds, like traditional pipe organ sounds, because it just sounds great. Let me... So I've created layers like kind of more traditionally what you'd hear with like a principal set of pipes and then, pulling all the stoppers out. So I don't play organ, but I love people who play organ. They're good people. So we're getting back into our old Bach from back in the day. Big organ. Yeah. So now we're going to jump forward about 300 years. We got Trance Pulse. There's a lot of those pulsing sounds here that I've included. Again, you can turn on anything you want. Hit the layer button, and you're going to be able to build out this sound really easily. Sounds so good. A lot of fun modern synthy sounds here. Now we're into the ARP section. So, some people love using arpeggios live. I tend to prefer putting in the track, but I want to make sure those guys and girls got lots of love. So here's what we got. So you got a lot of trance style things. You got some saw ones. And again, tap tempo it in. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we kind of move into some more specialized things. Like you may never need a marimba. I've heard it on a couple songs though. So you got this. You got it there if you need it. And then you can double it up. Subtle difference, but important one. Vibraphone. Again, maybe never need. Then we've got some lead lines. And these are the kind of lead lines you're specifically going to use in a worship setting. It's designed for that. It's not designed for a cover band or anything else. That's really why I've dug deep with this. And that kind of takes us out of the lead section into strings. Now, at first, strings to me on this new Nord Stage 4 were not great. I was not impressed, and then I figured out that it was possible to layer multiple string lines and still have room for a third, because you have 3 slots in each program. So that changed some things. So what I did was create some different velocity scaling combined, or essentially like frequency scaling, that allowed me to create these hybrid sounds. And to me, they're just crazy expressive. So maybe the best I've ever heard in a studio, and or in a keyboard that's not like a laptop running a massive sample library. So and to me, in a live setting, this is just the most expressive you're ever going to get. So I'll just play through a few of these. You can tell it just responds to your playing. Boy, don't we all wish we could just have a string quartet on stage every time that we got on stage? But man, this is second best. So we're in the small ensemble at this point. Just really fun, expressive stuff here, which, you know, again, you may have that in tracks, but if you're playing second keys, this is a super helpful thing you can do. Then just a lot of like filler stuff, like pizzicato strings. Again, may never need that particular one, but there's a slight chance you will. Grand Pianos and Mellotrons. So in my opinion, the Nord Stage series has always had the best Mellotron samples, and I've tried to use those. Good old Beatles stuff there. Then just a few more. Then we get in some string machines. Big orchestral sounds. Accordion. Then some gospel brass, which, you know, I'm not much of a gospel player myself, but if you are, you probably love this. So that real bright, gospel-y brass sound that a lot of people love. I don't personally play that a lot, but, you know, I am not the only person on earth who plays worship music. So big old brass there. Glockenspiel, perfect for Christmas time. Fun. Choir. Something just to kind of have there, you know, as a texture. Okay, so now we're getting into utility patches. These are things that, like, oh, the guitar player's sick, or maybe the bass player just didn't show up today. These patches will cover that. So you got acoustic guitar. Again, that's not going to fool anybody, probably. But it's nice to have there just in case you need that texture. So you got like a lot of fun there. 12-string guitar. And on top, there's a banjo. Again, maybe you'll never need it. Nylon guitar again for those Christmas songs. You get a mean Silent Night going there. Now, another one. Let's say that there is no guitar, there's no keyboard part on this song. You've got it covered here. You've got worship guitar. Again, this is not a real guitar. It's very clear, but it's a really good texture to add with a real guitar. Harp. Bass. And a fun bass, amp bass. That'd be really good for a gospel set. Upright bass. Jazz set. So this is an example if they're like, hey, play Jingle Bells, and we don't have a bass player. Go. You've got like that. So you make it through a set. FM bass. I was almost sure nobody would ever use that, but once in a while, if you don't have anything to do, you can just kind of hold down a note, sweep it in. Sub bass, same way. And this one I didn't map, so you could just grab the frequency knob here and go. That's fun. White noise, same deal. This one I did map. Again, maybe never need it. Now, I've also got a click built in. What's cool about this is you could use this patch on any patch, and if you dedicated it to go out a specific output, you could have your metronome. So it goes, and then if you go to layer scene 2, you get an 8th note accent. Very helpful if you just want to start it and maybe you're playing on another instrument. Or the next patch will give you a lot of time to practice at home, piano practice. So piano here, just basic piano. At the top, you can trigger the start. So you can get, maybe tap it a bit faster. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. You got it. And that is a in-depth tutorial of all the different elements that are included in the Worship Collection. You can find out more info at patchfoundry.com.